So your college degree at San Diego State was in art. So when did you first aspire to be an artist?
Well, I would say when I was about 4 years old. I've always had interest in drawing. When I went to San Diego State, I thought I should learn something more legitimate. However, I didn't do that. I became a cartoonist for the Daily Aztec newspaper, and I was just interested in drawing and painting and surfing. I wasn't really a serious student, I would imagine. But I've always been interested in drawing. I think my mother got me interested in it. She got me a stand-up chalkboard easel when I was 4 years old, and set her up in the kitchen. She'd be working there. She'd set up a little arrangement on the counter and say, "I'm telling you to draw this." So immediately I got into the fun of capturing whatever I saw with chalk, and then started drawing with pencils and crayons. As far back as I can remember, I just liked making images from whatever I see.
So Marvin, you sold over 3,000 paintings, but you did have a day job with our beloved Postal Service.
Yeah.
Occasionally you paint, you do a painting that has something to do with postal work or envelopes or what have you.
Not directly, really. The fact that I was working outside, I always liked to be outside. Just walking along, carrying mail. As you're walking, you get your blood kind of going, so your ideas are going full bore. I was always sketching down ideas on a notepad while I was working during the day carrying mail, and then started to carry out those ideas at night. So I would paint probably 5 days a week after work in the evening for an hour or two on my day off. So I kept drawing and painting through my entire career as a mail carrier.
Basically your sole medium, certainly in this job and from what I've seen, is oil. So why, tell me how you came to be only an oil painter.
So early on, 50 years ago, 55 years ago, I was painting in acrylics, and it just seemed to be limiting to a certain extent. You could carry it to just a certain level without it getting too realistic. And then I discovered using oils, it's such slow drying, just the most versatile medium I could find to use with what I wanted to do. I was tending towards realism way back then. Oil paints are, I would say, the most archival, meaning they're going to last the longest, most permanent. I kind of have it in my mind that the things that I'm doing, I would like to know that they're going to be so well done that they're going to last for 500 years. If you look back at some of the old Dutch masters, some of those paintings from 400 years ago, with linseed oil and their methods of working, that it will last for a long time.
So over the years, what artists have inspired you?
Over the years, yeah, a lot of modern painters in the beginning had an influence on me, I would say. Like Rene Magritte was a big one. And of course, he's still living now. He's going to turn 100 in November. Wayne Thiebaud, his imagery and his classic style. So he used a lot of pastries, cakes, and pies like he does. But I carry it to a more realistic level than he does. But I do admire his handling of paint. It's fun and it's very tactile. So I really do admire his work.
Is there anything about, while I'm looking at some of your landscapes of the Napa Valley, so the Napa Valley certainly
inspirational for things visual. These three here in the same area, down behind the St. Lena Library, this is the library looking back from the mustard out in the vineyard in early February. This is from the library looking at the vineyard behind the library with the house and the water tower there. Two different versions. These two were based on photos that I took. This one I just did a quick pencil sketch and then went home and from my own imagination and memory, did a little more stylized version of that scene behind the library.
So you do various size paintings, but your paintings tend to be smaller now. I've seen some of your earlier paintings that were in what we would call photorealism. Those tended to be larger. So you want to tell me a little bit about how your work has gone from big to down to smaller?
Yeah, I was working larger. I still did some small paintings back in the 70s and 80s. I was doing more larger pieces, 3 by 4 feet, 4 by 5 feet. And it seemed like I was putting a lot more time in those and then a little difficult to sell larger paintings. People don't have that much space. And I always wanted to do more, make more paintings and make them more accessible to people. So for several reasons, I just almost exclusively do paintings about this size. They're smaller, not much smaller than this, but they're more affordable for people. They're more versatile as far as in your house. There's a number of places you can put them. If you have a larger painting, it's very limiting as to where you can hang it. Affordable, I can do a lot more, spend less time making paintings. So I just tend to stick to these. I'll have maybe 12 or 15 paintings going at one time and let them dry in between glazes and so forth. It takes a couple months to do a painting. I'll work on it, bring it to a certain point, let it dry, wait a few days, go back into it, glaze over it again. So a lot of these paintings will have 7 or 8 different very thin layers on top of it. Gives it more luminosity for them.